This is a simple and inspiring story about courage, change, and the power of kindness. The vocabulary is easy, the sentences are clear, and the story teaches English naturally through context. Enjoy reading. Lakeshore was a small, quiet town built beside a wide blue river. Every morning, the sound of the water filled the streets like soft music. Children rode their bikes to school, shopkeepers opened their wooden doors, and fishermen pushed their boats into the calm river to begin another day. Among the people of Lakeshore lived a young woman named Ella Carter. She was 24 years old, with warm brown eyes and a gentle smile. Ella worked in a small bakery owned by her aunt. Every day she woke up before sunrise, put on her apron, and walked through the cool morning air to the bakery. She loved the smell of fresh bread and cinnamon as it filled the room. But although she appeared cheerful, Ella carried a quiet sadness inside her. 2 years earlier, she had lost her parents in a car accident. They were traveling to visit her when it happened. Since then, she had lived with her aunt and tried her best to continue with her life. Yet every night, when she lay in bed, she felt the empty space they left behind. People in Lakeshore were kind, but they also talked too much. When Ella passed by, they whispered, "Poor girl, she's still trying to move on." Or, "She used to be so lively." Ella pretended she didn't hear them, but she did. And each whisper made the sadness inside her a little heavier. Still, she kept going. She worked hard, helped her aunt, and tried to smile whenever she could. She believed that one day, life might feel warm again. One cloudy afternoon, while Ella was arranging bread on a wooden shelf, the bell above the bakery door rang. A stranger stepped inside. He was tall, wearing a dark green jacket and carrying a heavy backpack. His hair was messy from travel, and his shoes were covered in dust. But his eyes, clear blue and bright like the river, made Ella pause for a moment. "Hello," he said politely. "Do you sell anything warm to drink?" Ella nodded. "Of course. Tea or hot chocolate?" "Hot chocolate, please. Something sweet would be great today." She prepared the drink and placed it on the counter. The stranger smiled as he took the first sip. "This is wonderful," he said. "I've been walking for hours." "Are you traveling?" Ella asked. He nodded. "My name is Leo Bennett. I'm an artist. I travel from town to town, painting landscapes and people. Lakeshore looked peaceful, so I decided to stop here for a few days." Ella felt a quiet spark of curiosity. "An artist? That sounds exciting." Leo laughed softly. "Sometimes it is, but mostly it's just me, my sketchbook, and the road." He bought a loaf of bread, thanked her, and left. But something about the way he looked at the world, as if everything was full of possibility, stayed with her. 2 days later, Ella walked to the river during her lunch break. She liked sitting on a wooden bench and watching the water. It was the only place where she felt safe to think. But that day, someone was already sitting there. Leo. He was sketching the river with quick, confident strokes. When he saw Ella, he moved his things and said, "You can sit. I don't mind company." Ella sat down quietly. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The river flowed softly. Birds sang in the trees. The wind carried the smell of pine. "What are you painting today?" Ella finally asked. Leo turned the sketchbook toward her. The drawing showed the river, but it was not an ordinary picture. He had captured the movement of the water as if it were alive, full of secrets and stories. It's beautiful, Ella whispered. Thank you. I like painting places that feel like they're waiting for something. He looked at her gently. Do you ever feel like that? Ella froze. How could a stranger see something she never said aloud? Still, she answered honestly, Yes, sometimes. Leo nodded thoughtfully, but he didn't ask more. Instead, he continued sketching, and Ella watched, feeling strangely calm. When she stood up to leave, Leo said, You should come again. It's nice talking with someone who really looks at the world. Ella walked back to the bakery with a smile she hadn't felt in months. Over the next week, Ella and Leo met by the river again and again. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they simply sat in silence. But each time, Ella felt a little lighter. Leo told her stories from his travels, snowy mountains, crowded markets, ancient forests, and bright cities full of music. Ella listened with wide eyes. She had never left Lakeshore. She had always stayed close to home, close to the places her parents loved. One day, Leo said, You see the world differently. Ella laughed softly. Me? I haven't even seen much of the world. That's not what I mean, Leo said. Most people look at the surface, but you look deeper. You notice feelings, not just colors. Ella didn't know how to respond. No one had ever said anything like that before. After a moment, she whispered, My mom used to say that. She told me I had a gentle way of seeing people. Leo smiled warmly. She was right. The words touched something deep in Ella, a place she had closed for a long time. One morning, Leo told Ella, I want to paint something different today, something important. She asked, What is it? You, he said quietly. Ella felt her face grow warm. Me? Why? Because your story deserves to be seen. Ella hesitated. She felt nervous, exposed. But something in Leo's voice made her trust him. So she sat by the river while Leo began to paint. The wind played with her hair. The water sparkled behind her. Leo worked quietly, focused, careful with every color. When he finally turned the painting around, Ella gasped. It wasn't just her face on the canvas. It was her story. Her sadness, her strength, the softness in her eyes, the quiet courage she didn't know she had. Everything was there. It's beautiful, she whispered. It's you, Leo said gently. The real you. Ella felt tears in her eyes, not heavy ones, but light ones, like morning rain. But life, even in small towns, is never peaceful for long. The next week, dark clouds gathered over Lakeshore. The river rose higher than usual. People whispered nervously, remembering the last time the river flooded. One evening, a huge storm arrived. Rain fell like icy needles. Winds shook the houses. Lightning split the sky. Ella, alone in the bakery with her aunt, looked outside anxiously. Suddenly, someone knocked hard on the door. It was Leo, soaking wet. The river is rising fast, he said. Some of the old houses near the bank are already flooded. We need help. Ella's aunt said, Go with him. The town needs everyone. Ella grabbed her jacket and followed Leo into the storm. People gathered near the river, helping families move furniture, lifting crates, and guiding children to safer ground. Ella had never seen so much fear in Lakeshore. The water kept rising. The wind kept screaming. The sky refused to calm. Leo worked beside her, steady and strong. But Ella noticed something. He kept glancing toward a small wooden house near the edge of the river. "What is it?" she asked. "There's an old man who lives there," Leo said. "He didn't answer when others checked earlier. I'm worried." Without waiting, Leo ran toward the house. Ella followed him through the rushing water. They reached the house. The door was stuck. Leo pushed hard until it opened. Inside, they found Mr. Harlow, a frail man in his 70s, sitting in a chair, unable to walk. "Help, please," he whispered. Leo picked the man up carefully. Ella held a flashlight and guided the way. Water was already rising inside the house. Outside, a sudden wave hit the steps, knocking Ella off balance. Her flashlight fell and disappeared into the dark water. Leo shouted, "Ella!" He grabbed her arm before she fell. With his other arm, he held the old man. Somehow, step by step, they reached safer ground. People rushed to help. Mr. Harlow was taken to a shelter. Leo leaned against a wall, exhausted. Ella stood beside him, shaking from cold and fear. "You saved him," she said. Leo shook his head. "We saved him." By morning, the storm was gone. The town was wet and muddy, but safe. People began cleaning the streets, repairing roofs, and helping each other. Ella walked to the river to find Leo. She saw him sitting on the same bench where they first talked. "You look tired," she said. He smiled weakly. "A little." They sat in silence for a long time. Finally, Leo spoke. "Ella, there's something I need to tell you." Her heart tightened. She knew that tone. "I'm leaving soon," he said. "I never stay in one place for long. It's my life, traveling, painting, moving from town to town." Ella felt a heavy sadness, familiar and painful. But Leo looked at her with soft regret. "If I stay too long anywhere, I feel like I stop being myself." Ella nodded slowly. She understood. It hurt, but she understood. On his last day in Lakeshore, Leo came to the bakery to say goodbye. "I want to give you something," he said. He handed her the painting, the portrait he had made of her by the river. "I can't take this," Ella whispered. "Yes, you can," Leo replied. "You helped me see something too. That stillness can be beautiful, and that some people carry whole worlds inside them." Ella looked down, holding the painting close. "Will you come back someday?" she asked quietly. Leo smiled, a little sad, a little hopeful. "Maybe. The river will guide me." Then he left the bakery, walked across the bridge, and disappeared down the long road. Weeks passed, the town healed, the river returned to its calm blue flow, and Ella continued working at the bakery. But something inside her had changed. Leo's painting hung on the wall of her small bedroom. Every morning she looked at it and reminded herself that she was more than her sadness. She was strong, gentle, brave, and full of stories. She began taking evening walks, exploring parts of Lakeshore she had never visited. She started writing in a journal. tiny stories about the people she saw, the sky, the river, the way sunlight fell on rooftops. She realized that she didn't need to travel far to see beauty. She just needed to open her eyes again. One warm spring morning, Ella took a deep breath and made a decision. She would visit the world outside Lakeshore. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday soon. Not because she was running away, but because she finally felt ready to step forward. As she stood by the river, she whispered, "Thank you for the second chance." The water sparkled in the sunlight, as if answering her, and Ella smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in a very long time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more inspiring stories every week.